Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Friday, and it's April 21st, and this will be our chart lesson for today. And yeah, it's unusual that I'm doing one on a Friday, but as I promised everybody, since I've been out so much, I almost didn't come in today, but I just had so much I needed to do otherwise. So I came on in. I did not trade today. I'm still a little loopy. I'll be honest with you. I'm on these painkillers. I haven't taken one since early this morning, so I felt good enough that I'd go ahead and do this chart lesson. And then I'm going home and take me another painkiller, and I'm not leaving the house for a few days. But I did have my surgery. It was successful. It was a little more involved than what I was expecting. I did get to go home the same day, but I actually had to go into the hospital, and I thought it was just going to be like one of these deals where they put you in twilight, but they actually put me under and completely out, and they shoved that tube down my throat that they do when you're in surgery, and so my throat's really sore, and so I'm having a little bit difficult time talking too, so I'm going to move through this pretty quickly, but just to give you that update, everything went great. My ear's really sore, and any of you that saw the original pictures, if you could see these pictures, it really looks wonderful now. But basically, real quickly, what they did was they cut a little flap and tucked my ear in there and sewed that ear into that flap, and then in about 2 or 3 weeks they will cut that skin loose, and that flap will go with my ear, and that is what they're going to rebuild my ear with. And then they'll stitch up behind my ear, and I'll have a little scar there, but that'll be hardly noticeable. And so they're making my missing piece of my ear from the skin behind my ear is basically what they're doing. And they sew it together so I guess the skin doesn't die. It's not like a graft. It's more like they hook them together and it grows for 2 or 3 weeks, and the blood vessels grow into the new areas and so forth. Some of y'all may know more about it than me, but it's pretty interesting how they did it. But anyway, keep this thing short and sweet, I'm going to move on here. And you can see it was just another range day. It does look like we're going to try and close near the highs. There's another hour of trading, so it could change considerably, but before then it's only 3 o'clock. I'm going to do this and get out of here. Like I said, I waited till 2:30 to kind of set the chart up and get a full day's lesson out of it. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. And so this could change. It looks like I wouldn't expect anything miraculously to happen one way or the other. This may change more as a doji, or it may even change more as a little bit of a down day. I mean, I guess it could close up even higher because we do have another hour. But right now, it looks kind of like we're just still working sideways, and we close down one day and up the next, or just end up closing on a neutral day. So I'm going to call this kind of a neutral. It's a range day basically, and it may close on its high before it's over, or we could even go a little higher, but we'll just have to see. It's just a range day. You know, when we flip over to the other chart, it'll look more like a range day. But let's do that now. You can see it here. It's just going to be, it's kind of we actually made a lower low here, so we could reverse back up. That's probably what we're doing. We're probably on the low end of this range, and we'll probably trade back up and test the high end, and we could end up going higher, but my guess is we're just going to chop around here for a few days. So we'll see what happens. But let's flip over to the 2000 tick chart, take a look at it, go through the trades, and wrap this day up, and I'm going to get out of here. But hold on, okay, here it is. And you can see it's mostly a range day, and you can see we are working back towards the highs here in the after hour trading. And it's possible that maybe this line has moved up here after these. Okay, we're going to give this another try here. I had an interruption first, and just about the time I was getting ready to start, the power went out. Storming like crazy here, and then when it came back on, of course, I had to recreate my whole chart, so I had to do this from scratch. I'm trying to recall from memory how I drew it in real time. So it's just not meant to be for me to get this chart lesson out. So I'm going to try to get through these trades as quickly as possible here now and wrap my day up. You can see this range day here, as I talked about. I did talk about it closing possibly up. It looks like it's closed just kind of upper side of the channel here. You can see it there. Not the channel, the range. But let's zoom in. We'll go through these trades. I'm going to go through them real quickly because I'm ready to wrap this day up. And I just don't know why it was so hard for me to get this done, but it's been a real chore to get it done here. 7 o'clock came. Down in here as we're bouncing off these lows. And you had a failed second entry short here. It's not really set up real well for a second entry short. However, it's a bounce off the lows of the range, what's just sideways stuff. And so if it breaks above all these closes here, it's probably going to shoot on up. This shot up really fast. You may not even had time to get in this trade. You'd probably have to drop a limit order back there. But if you could grab that trade, grab it. And of course we ran up here. We got a channel working up, and you get a close outside here, a new high, and that's just a failed break above the high. Maybe you take that one. Generally you want to wait on the lower high, which came here, and I wouldn't have a problem taking that on the engulfing bar. As you can see, this broke higher and turned down. Just go short one tick below that bar right there if you wanted, and you could still go short even right here. It comes back, you get another failure here. It's not really how we like a failure to set up. It's on the wrong side, but it's another lower high in a range, and if there's enough room back to that EMA, you can take that trade. I marked it. This is really you probably wouldn't want to take that trade, because there's a news item here that kicked off at 8:45. And so by 8:30, you probably want to be flat. And you can see everybody was just kind of waiting for that news item. I think everybody's learning their lesson about the news. But as you can see, everything just quit trading there. Well, that's because of the news item, and people are sitting still waiting on that news to come out first. And of course it does. And you get a first entry, second entry. So that's a failed second entry long there. And there's also a hidden second entry. But I like going short right there. If it was just a second entry, that signal bar is not bearish enough, but because it's a failure too, so this is a little more advanced trade. That's why I marked it green. We're running down here. You get a break and new low. I didn't mark this trade. It doesn't look like we're really getting rejection. It is a higher low, and so it's another one that maybe you take that. And then you get the reversal here. It's not a great reversal setup either, but it is above the EMA, so there's another reversal you could take. You can see it just kind of chops around. I mean, there's clearly a leg up there, but it looks almost sideways, so it really looks like a first leg, and then maybe that's your failure, but that looks too congested to me, so I'm not crazy about it. And you just really didn't get another chance to enter there. You get a break, new high, lower high here, but it's right into the EMA, and then you get your failure when it breaks higher there. So I like going short right below that bar, and that's just a failure. So again, that's a little more advanced. Nothing else through here. We fell out the bottom down here again. You bounced off the support here, but it's too congested and sideways. We're not getting rejection here. It comes back, and it does finally make a higher low. And maybe you look at this one as a failure, because that's pretty much a double bottom. So first entry, second entry, and again, it's not a perfect setup because it's on the wrong side of the EMA, but maybe you treat it like a failure and a higher low and take that trade, since it is a range day and we're coming off the low, and we did have a failed breakout there. Nothing else on the way up there, and we're just stay out of this. It's not worth trading. We run back to the upper side of the channel and then come down. I don't see anything there. I mean, if that would have broke higher first and then turned down, maybe you go short there on a lower high, but I don't like it the way it is. Here, no break of this channel, new low yet. So, and maybe you might have still considered going long there, but when this doesn't break higher, that's not a good sign. It ends up going up, but I just don't think you can take that. We run up, we get a break, new high, but we're not quite to the highs, so no shorts yet. And next thing you know, you're just chopping sideways again. You get a channel down, a break, it doesn't even get a new low, and then you got one working up, and it gets a break. And finally, we're back to the trend line down here. Here's the same thing. Looks like we get somewhat of an overshoot here, and that bounces right off that trend line, a little ways from the EMA, but I'm a little hesitant because we haven't got a break in new low, but we may not get one because this is the more dominant trend line. And the problem is that plus you're looking at the range, and we're right in the middle of the range, but you can't ignore that trend line. It is a confirmed trend line. So maybe you take that one. You're better to wait on a higher low here, and then it's still congested, but it looks like we're going to go higher now, and this is a little safer setup. This looks a little like a reversal, but I wouldn't trade it as one. And we get a break here, move to a new high, turns down, and this is a nice reversal here. Notice you get your first entry, you shoot through the MA, pull back, second entry. So if it breaks below there, you got your failure. I like that one. We're bouncing off the trend line here. We did have a failed break out of the range here, even though we're in this channel going up too. The range is the main play. And you can see we did have a failed breakout, and that also came back and gave you a double test of the support resistance of the upper side of that range. But here you get a close outside and a big bearish bar with a second entry with plenty of room back here. So even if this trend line is going to hold, you got enough room there. So I like that trade, and this turns out to be a pretty nice trade. And then we just kind of chop sideways with no real direction into the 2:30 hour. So I know I went through that fast, but I promised I was going to do this today, and everything possible tried to keep me from doing it. But there it is. I know it's not probably the best chart lesson we've had, but at least you saw the trades I see all after the fact today. So I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back Monday. Hopefully I'll be feeling a little better Monday and a little bit more back to normal. So we'll see you then. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next.